There has honestly never been a better or more important time to start a business than right now, today in 2022. A quick word from our sponsor, Naughty Bands. I'm totally joking, this is so stupid. There were already tons of videos about business ideas that people think will work in 2021 and 2022. But to be honest, every single one that I watched completely missed the mark. Their suggestions range from dumb to downright dangerous, and their advice for getting started is almost completely impractical. I'm going to discuss at least 5 business ideas that you can see profits from in as little as 30 days. All of them are infinitely scalable, and all of them cost little to no money to get started. I'm going to dive into each one individually and talk about how I would actually do it if I were to attack the business in 2022. We're going to build a few of these businesses from start to finish, and we're going to document the entire process. So if you want to see what building any of these businesses actually looks like, make sure to hit subscribe and hit the bell button, because you're definitely going to want to be notified when those videos drop. Let's cut to the chase. My first suggestion is a niche content blog or an online magazine, but probably not for the reason you think. While your ad revenue, I believe, is probably very minimal, there are actually multiple ways that you can, first of all, take ad revenue, and secondly, make other kinds of money. It's something of an industry secret, but have you ever been watching local news and seen that their stories seem a little bit too friendly to a particular person or a particular product? Probably because they paid for that spot.
Best-selling author and just an all-around great guy.
The real money is in sponsored posts. This is a little bit on the underbelly of content creation, but it's actually something that everybody does. From your local news station all the way up to the Mirror and the Independent here in the UK. This right here is talking about the most expensive business and personal coach in the UK. At first glance, it looks like a normal news article. And I happen to know people in his inner circle. Not only is it an ad, but it's not even true. He's not the most expensive coach in the UK. He just wanted that title. There are actually publications where the entire, or at least the vast majority of their revenue comes from this sort of sponsored content. And if you look at like a notoriously entrepreneurial website like Coach.com, they make their entire revenue from sponsored posts and this directory that you have to pay £97 a year to join. What they do is they pay to be featured in Coach, or they pay to be featured in the Mirror, and that gives them some sort of notoriety. It tells people, hey, I know what I'm talking about. Now, what does this all mean for you? What I'm trying to say is that you can start a niche content blog, you can start an online magazine, but don't count on a yacht load of money coming from Google AdSense and even affiliate marketing. The game you want to be in is sponsored posts. The more specific you can get with your niche, the better off you're gonna be, because the more targeted your audience is. So if you take a look at like Dances with Her, for example, it's a lesbian-only bride magazine. You can buy their magazine and you can buy their courses, but a big chunk of their money comes from sponsored content, people who are in their articles, who want that notoriety or who want that advertisement for their own services. If you're to do this yourself, you pick your niche, you start creating great content right from the beginning. You can even start featuring people who maybe didn't ask to be featured to make it look like it's a legit publication. Lots of well-known names in specific industries will have like brand packs where they let you use their images if you're going to feature them in an article. If you're making another founder magazine, for example, you could easily take brand packs from, you know, big companies and just start featuring them in your content. The truth is, it has never been easier to put on your own event. There's this company called Peerspace. It allows you to book out places like hotel conference rooms, gyms, theaters, warehouses, even churches. You can get small places for as little as like $20 an hour. But I even found a 230-person art gallery right in New York City for $300 per evening event. I mean, you can hardly plan a romantic date for $300 in New York City. Imagine taking your SO to a private art gallery. That would be amazing. You might even be able to get things for cheaper if you contact hotels to rent out their conference rooms directly, or if you go on like Airbnb and speak with a different host. That's what my wife and I did. We rented an entire Castle hotel for 3 days for our wedding for $1,500. It was amazing. Literally the best hack we have ever thought of. So how does this turn into money? Well, the obvious answer is that you put on an event that a lot of people would be willing to pay for. But there's also a not so obvious answer. Let me let you in on a little secret. People who want to be authorities in a particular niche, who want the domain authority to say that they've talked on a stage about a particular subject, they will pay you to speak in front of an audience. They want to get themselves in front of your audience. They want to be seen as an authority. They want the opportunity to sell their products or services. I was completely oblivious to this model when I first arrived here in London, and I ended up at one of these self-improvement events. There were about 10 speakers who were some variation of life coach, who were trying to push their service onto this audience of 100 people. Every single one of them paid to speak in an event that I went to. But there's another event that my wife went to, and it was advertised as like this big thing with Gary Vaynerchuk. If you know Gary V, you'll know that he does these speaking engagements, these speaking events, you know, regularly. Paid like 20 pounds for her ticket, but the tickets went up to like £1,000 if you wanted front row seats, if you wanted a photo opportunity with Gary V at the end. And it was just advertised as this big thing, Gary V is coming to speak. That gets people paying £1,000 for a ticket. And then when my wife got there, it was a series of people who had paid to be there. Gary V came on the last like 30 seconds. Everybody else pays for the respect of saying, I've been on the stage with Gary V. But this doesn't have to be like a speaking engagement. When my wife and I first got married, we went to a few different wedding fairs, but we went to one that was very small. The two of us, we paid about £20 to get in, but being the business-minded people that we are, we went in asking the vendors a lot of different questions. And turns out, not only did they charge admission, but they charged the vendors £600 or £700 just to be there. There are 101 vendors that are each paying £600 or £700, and most of the customers are coming from word of mouth or even from affiliate marketing. When we talk to the vendors, they basically describe, they say that we push this event because we're gonna be here. Essentially, what you have is you have something of an affiliate network that is driving all of the marketing for this. And I don't know exactly how much they make, but the vendors are paying them at least £70,000. The customers are paying them at least £20,000, and the sponsors are paying them at least £20,000. That right there is £110,000 for a 3-day event, and that doesn't even include the merchandise or the food vendors. The great thing about putting on an event is that you could theoretically book a place for an entire day for like £300, $300. All you have to do is attract a couple of vendors to completely pay yourself back. You might be able to get away without spending anything on marketing. Okay, so I'm at a hotel in Antalya, Turkey. I'm just editing my video. And at this hotel, there happens to be one of these very small scale events, just like 4 vendors, just to give you an insight into what this actually looks like in the real world. And on a related note, since I'm in an all-inclusive resort in Antalya, Turkey, next week I'm gonna be publishing a video about how to travel the world for free. So make sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell button if you wanna get notified when that video comes out. Okay, back to the forest. This is applicable in a lot of areas, and you might even be able to get away with not spending anything on the venue. Have you ever been to a speed dating event? Have you ever paid for one? The event organizer can also make it free or can get sponsorships for the event, but they could also potentially charge admission. It totally depends on what you want to do. But what will happen is the restaurant and the pub will often give the space for free in the hopes that they're going to sell drinks or food or something like that during the event because you're bringing in a lot of potential customers. Okay, this next one is called print on demand. And if you don't know what that is, it's exactly what it sounds like. You have a design that you send the manufacturer. You can pick something like Zazzle or Teespring. And as you get orders, the manufacturer will send them on demand, one at a time, and send it directly to your customer. People use these services because there's really no upfront cost. This option gets mentioned a lot in these other like business idea YouTube videos, like the one you're watching now. The problem with them though is that this is kind of where the story ends. They say you throw up your design on Zazzle, on Teespring, and you start raking in the money. Your design is online for sale that anybody can buy. It doesn't work. Like, just no, not even a little bit. You will never, ever, ever make a sale if you just throw your design up on Zazzle and hope for the best. The only benefit that this method has over a traditional method is that you don't have to hold inventory. The good news is that there are like a dozen different ways that you could take this. The first one is meme groups. And if you don't know what a meme is, essentially you have these images that are just like jokes. They're super shareable among like a hyper-targeted group of individuals. There's this one Facebook group called Engineering Memes. It's just a bunch of jokes targeted towards engineers that only engineers get. They have an Instagram account that reposts all the same content and they just link to each other. Dive into it a little bit further, you will see that it's actually just a front for a Teespring page. I mean, literally that's this meme group's entire purpose, is a Teespring page targeted toward that core audience of engineers. Honestly, I think that this is genius. Literally all they have to do is continue sharing funny images and they just watch the sales roll in. Teespring fulfills all of their orders and they're just driving traffic. Now, if I were to follow this path, what I would do is I would kind of infiltrate a specific niche. And what I would do is I would find the quotes, I would find the photos, I would find the memes that these people are sharing, that these people really identify with, and I would turn them into product. You could sell bumper stickers, you could sell shirts, you could sell cups, I mean literally anything. You can take a look at the engineering page as inspiration for what this actually looks like. If you can become an authority in these groups and then share your products directly, then great. But if you can't, what you can do is you can get in touch with the administrators of the page or of a particular blog or whatever and offer them a cut. If you don't know what affiliate marketing is, it's essentially a way for you to give somebody else a link to your product that will gain them a commission for every sale that they make. You could contact the administrators of a Facebook page, the admin of a blog or something like that in your hyper-targeted group and have them send out a link promising them a commission of every sale. So with a print-on-demand service like Zazzle, like Teespring, you can print a lot more than t-shirts. Are you a photographer? Then print photos. Are you not a photographer? There's a good chance that you can buy a membership to a stock photography website and literally just print the photos off the stock photography website and sell them as a print-on-demand product. And it depends on the license. Some stock photography sites will allow this. Read the license agreement to make sure you can do this. And then use the exact same methods that I've already talked about. Use affiliate marketing, use meme groups, whatever you have to do to sell these products. You don't need to be a photographer or even a meme architect to make this business model work. You can design something as simple as a canvas that's meant to hang in a child's room. Contact mom blogs. Get them to send a link to your product. Offer them a commission in exchange. They can sell from their weekly email blast. We don't sell these, we offer them for free as digitals on our kids educational YouTube channel, Learning Tale. But you could easily design something like this on Canva. Charge some nominal fee like $5. Reach out to 100, 1,000. There are probably tens of thousands of homeschooling blogs. Offer them a $1 commission on every sale that they make. You might want to have more than one set to maximize sales, but they literally take like an hour to make. And you could be having sales tomorrow if you find the right people with the right audience. This next business idea I'm just going to call a conceptual store directory. Essentially, you're selling things, other people's things. If you walk into a coffee shop or a restaurant across the United States, in a lot of them you will see artwork or pictures on the wall that are for sale. If you walk into a coffee shop in London or in Oregon, you might even see one of mine. Photographers put these on the walls of restaurants for free. It's a way that a coffee shop or a restaurant can beautify their store for free, and at the same time a photographer can hope for sales. I live in London now, as you can tell from this gorgeous weather we're having. Aber ich habe in Berlin gelebt. I used to live in Berlin.
Ich bin ein Berliner.
Und ich bin ein Hamburger.
There are a few conceptual stores in big cities across America and across other parts of Europe, but they're super popular in Berlin. If you don't know what a conceptual store is, it's actually a coffee shop where they usually have great coffee, really fast Wi-Fi, and they design the store to maximize atmosphere. It's a great place to just come with your laptop, sit down on a nice couch, just like work the day away. They maximize the atmosphere by selling products. Instead of like paintings on the wall, it's a handcrafted spoon, it's a beautiful jacket, it's a photography guide on the desk. And so they're selling everything in the store, but everything is there to create like something of an atmosphere. Here in London, there are tons of coffee shops, there are tons of co-working spaces that are designed specifically for work on the computer. You can get in touch with these coffee shops, in touch with these co-working spaces, and become the middleman between local artisans. You can make a commission on sales, you could charge rent to the artisans. I'm gonna take a pause right there to tell you a little bit about Lil Assistants. I've managed to start a lot of different businesses over the years, and I found a lot more success in the last couple of years. It's due in no small part to my team of virtual assistants. Some of my businesses are even running on autopilot right now so that I can do things like travel to Antalya, Turkey, which is where I am right now. Finding a good team of virtual assistants can literally change your life, and it can free you up to take on new business opportunities or to travel full-time if that's what you want to do. It has been a long journey finding the right process, training the right people. I wanted to do something that would make it easier for others to follow down that same path. They've done everything for me, from getting me free hotels to stay around the world to managing my outreach campaigns. And like this one in particular, this is an Instagram outreach campaign that made us 20,000 pounds over the course of 2 months. To be honest, for me, my virtual assistants handle all of the business aspect of the business so that I can focus on the things that I really want to do, and that's interacting with customers, making videos, and traveling. I love to travel. It's like my all-time favorite thing. You can hire directly from our team for as little as $4 an hour. Just go to lilassistants.com and register your interest. Even if you're not sure about it, just go fill out the form and we can start a conversation. You create an exclusive membership. There are so many ways that this could go, but I have two really specific ideas. First one is a co-working membership. Essentially, here in London, co-working spaces are an incredibly popular alternative to office spaces, and they're really expensive. They're like £300 to £600 a month. A lot of them have gone out of business in the last couple of years, especially the small ones. Now that things are kind of getting back to normal, there's this huge gap to fill. Now, at the same time, restaurants are still kind of suffering from the pandemic. They're recovering, but still suffering. I've had this idea for a long time, but I think that now might be the perfect time to strike. Create a membership, essentially for co-working in restaurants and coffee shops. You stake out the best restaurants, the best coffee shops with the most comfortable seating, with the fastest Wi-Fi, with usable restrooms, and you partner with them. It would have to be a lot cheaper than a co-working space, like 30 or 50 pounds or something like that. You create a network around your city, around your country, where people can just go and sit with no obligation to buy anything. This will benefit the restaurants because on average, they probably will buy things. In restaurants that don't get very busy, a lot of the times what you'll notice is that they seat people in the front, because if a restaurant looks busier, they're more likely to get more customers. So this could also benefit the restaurant in that way, where it looks busier. This is a whole psychology thing, and this is how you could pitch it to the restaurants potentially. So this next idea is kind of along the same lines, but it's probably a much bigger, much more ambitious project. You're not going to be able to complete it in 30 days. But my wife and I, we are digital nomads, and the digital nomad community is growing and thriving. We have traveled through hostels, we have traveled through Airbnb, we have traveled through, you know, like door to door asking people if we can stay with them. My wife is hilarious. In Indonesia, like she literally just walked around to people's houses and asked them if we could pay them to stay with them. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to make here is that we've recently started trading our footage for free places in hotels, and that has been so much better than anything else that we've done, because hotels have so many benefits, like daily housekeeping is like a godsend. If we were to pay for those hotels, I mean, they're very expensive. The truth is that it doesn't actually cost these hotels that much to allow one person into a room that would otherwise be empty. I think that it would be so massively beneficial if you could create some type of membership that is like really just the same price as rent. Or maybe it's a little bit more, but allows you to live anywhere in the world, in any empty hotel room. That's something that somebody like me would definitely pay for. The next business idea is selling digital assets. I get a huge chunk of my money from stock videography. 15 or 20% of my income comes from videos that I took with my cell phone. Right now, you can start recording with your cell phone, uploading and tagging videos on Pond5, on Shutterstock, on Adobe Stock, but you don't even have to stick to photos or videos. Like I mentioned before in the print on demand chapter, we don't sell these, we give these away. On our other kids educational channel, use it as an example before, you could sell it print on demand, but you could also easily sell it as a digital. And digital can take any form. I also sell photo presets. I sell video LUTs, which are like presets for videos. You get in touch with a homeschooling group. You offer them a commission for the sales. Say $1 out of the $5 that you're selling them for. You can get in touch with 10,000 homeschooling bloggers. You only have to pay out for marketing when something actually sells. If you can get in touch with the right people with the right audience to send out this email, you could literally have sales tomorrow. And just to give you an idea of how this could work in other industries, I mean, if you're, say, a personal trainer, you could create a PDF guide or a video guide, sell it as one pack of information. The great thing about these digital assets is you create them once. The files, they just live on some server somewhere, and you can sell them unlimited times. You can get in touch with thousands of people, of Instagrammers, of TikTokers. It has to be valuable information. Don't just like sell garbage. The limit on how much you can sell is literally just the number of email lists that you can find, the number of bloggers, TikTokers, or Instagrammers who are willing to take you up on the offer. Digital assets, print on demand, these things are infinitely scalable and you can get started right now. I know that sounds cliche coming from a YouTuber, but I honestly think there has never ever been a better time to start a YouTube channel. I got this channel monetized in about 3 weeks and I'm making way more money than I expected to right at the beginning. I made a whole separate video about my strategy for getting monetized as quickly as possible, so I'm not gonna dive into this one as much as the others, but I will link that video in the description below. Make sure to go check that out when you have a chance. First of all, the money is way better than I thought it was going to be. I could literally retire to a cheap country right now. I'm kicking myself for not having done this earlier. There's this couple here in London. Their names are Mimi and Alex Icon, and I've been following them for a long time. They built their business entirely off of YouTube. They were profitable within a few weeks of starting, and they turned their business into a multi-million-dollar enterprise. You can call this one the personal brand chapter if you want, rather than the YouTube channel chapter. But essentially, what you're trying to do is you're asserting your domain authority, your domain expertise, and you're using that to sell products. And for Mimi and Alex Icon, they sold hair extensions, and their domain authority was in how to style your hair. I'm not going to dive into all of the possibilities that you could take a YouTube channel, but I personally think even if you choose any of the other business ideas to follow, you should also do this one. You should absolutely be diversifying your income with a YouTube channel, and you should be increasing your domain authority in a specific topic that is only going to benefit your long-term ambitions, no matter what they are. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this video. It is always a pleasure in this beautiful rainy forest. Please, if you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, let me know in the comments below.